Carole and Howard Baskin said that they would vow to help me get a pardon if I would support the Big Cat Safety Act. It is time for Carole and Howard to put up or shut the hell up, because I'm accepting their offer.
That is the star of the Netflix series Tiger King, Joe Exotic, accepting a proposal from a longtime adversary, Carole Baskin, and her husband, Howard. They both join us live now to discuss this. Thanks, both of you, for coming on. A big fan of the show. Love seeing you guys today, and I appreciate that. Howard, I'll start with you on this. You've had your response here from Joe Exotic saying, show me your cards, essentially. He calls you out. He says you're bluffing. Is that true, or would you be willing to work with him? Explain that.
Well, first of all, Joe is his own worst enemy. Look, what I had said was that if you look at the people who've been pardoned, that most of the people who get real pardons have been people who did something redeeming with their life. And so I suggested that Joe take a position. He had told the Washington Post, I think, that after living in prison, he realized that putting these animals in a cage was a bad thing to do and regrets doing it. I said, well, if you really regret that, why don't you come out and help us pass the bill and, make your life into something good and redeeming. And if you were to do that, then, we'd be willing to go to Washington and try to, talk about reducing your sentence and instead of having this, these clowns on his team go to Washington and do it. He didn't accept our proposal. If you look what he said, he rants about the bill. He says he makes misstatements about the bill favoring big cat rescue and PETA. Our goal has been to put ourselves out of business so that, the bill doesn't favor us and has nothing to do with, it doesn't favor PETA. He did not accept our offer.
Joe Exotic is serving a 22-year sentence behind bars. I believe he's on the second year for a murder-for-hire plot. Obviously, Carole, you are at the center of that. Do you support an early release for Joe Exotic in reference to getting help on this act, something that you've been very passionate about?
I've been very clear that if he were to change his tune and actually help law enforcement put the rest of these animal abusers behind bars, and if he were to work with legislators to pass the Big Cat Public Safety Act, which bans cub petting and phases out private possession, I'd be all for him getting a reduced sentence. But that's not what he said he would do. He's just said, yes, I'll take your offer, and I don't like this bill, and I don't want it to go through. So that's not accepting our offer. But he's done what he does very, very, very well, which is gets the media to pay attention to him, and he loves that.
Carole, what are your terms for this? Obviously, you're working out if you want to work out a deal loosely here, obviously Joe Exotic could greatly benefit from this. That's no secret. But what are your terms? I know that you want him to help, but how can Joe Exotic help you and help this act?
If he brings the rest of these animal abusers to authorities with such evidence that they can put them away for a long time, and if he goes to legislators and says, I am all in favor of banning cub petting and phasing out private possession, then I would absolutely work for a reduction of his sentence.
Howard, have you had correspondence with Joe at all? Or has it just been in television interviews back and forth? That's how you're hearing from him. Have you corresponded with Joe?
No, I haven't corresponded with him. I had suggested this in a media interview and was very sincere about it. And what we get back from him, it's unfortunate. I would love to have him do something rational and, reasonable for a change instead of, his ranting and raving. Part of his deal that he offered was we're supposed to go and say that his trial, was not appropriate. Well, we're not going to do that. His trial was perfectly well run, and he's gotten the sentence he deserves for what he did. If he wants to mitigate that, then do something good with your life for a change and help stop the misery that these cubs are going through.
Carole, does the offer still stand? If this, obviously, they'll take some sound from your interview right now. Does this offer still stand for Joe Exotic?
Absolutely. If he goes to the legislature and actually helps them push this bill through this year, and works with law enforcement to put the rest of the people that you saw in Tiger King in jail where I think they belong, then of course I think he should get a reduced sentence.
But no concern for your well-being if he has an early release?
Well, if he's had such a change of heart as what he is proclaiming to have, then I wouldn't be in any danger.
All right, we'll leave it right there. That is Carole and Howard Baskin joining us live on the program here as the saga continues. So many of us followed along there on Tiger King on Netflix. I wonder if there's going to be a Tiger Queen, maybe a new Netflix series. You never know.
We'll see.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Hi, Emma Rechenberg here. If you like this video, there's a whole lot more to see on Newsmax TV. You can watch for free right here on our YouTube live stream and be the first one here each time our experts break down real news. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell icon, and stay with us on America's fastest growing cable news channel, Newsmax TV.